Wow. Well, if your heart isn't open yet, whew. So this month, we are talking about when things fall apart, right? The theme is from pieces to peace. The world right now is calling us to see the wholeness despite the chaos. In this position, I have the opportunity to speak to you all and have a sense of what's going on in your lives that, we might not all see on a Sunday morning. We come together, we hug, we smile, we share. And I know that not only is it a time politically of great woe, for lack of a better word, the energy on the planet right now it's calling us to our knees to surrender and to heal old patterns like we never have before. And there is an opportunity to truly look at when things fall apart as the gift of healing and to allow love and peace to prevail, yes? Yesterday we had the opportunity to be at Kentucky Black Pride, and one of the things that occurs that you might not know if you've never sat behind the booth at Ahava handing out affirmation cards, especially at a Pride event, is people open up to you and you hear the stories of religious abuse and trauma that particularly the LGBTQ community has experienced. We had one such story yesterday that I'll spare you the details, but just let you know that it is something that should never occur within the walls of something that is called a church or a sanctuary or a place that is of love and holiness. And it reminds me even more of why we are here and why it's important that Ahava Center for Spiritual Living exists as a place of healing and wholeness where we can see the truth and hold you wherever you are in your life and know that you are perfect and you are love. Where you can go to church with Justin, you can then have a sound healing with Kim and be inspired by the words of a Buddhist monk. All in one service, right? So, we're going to do something a little different today. The theme is practicing the presence, and I thought, I could talk one more time about the value of being in the present moment and dropping in, or we could just practice it. So we're going to have a little bit of a contemplative service based on this book, the chapter called Not Causing Harm. And I'm going to read a section, and then Kim's going to move us with some meditative vibrations, and we're going to kind of just play with that a little bit. A reading, taken into practice, a reading, taken into practice. So, are you willing? Yes. Okay, good. I don't know what I'd say if you said no. I'd say, well, too bad. All right. So, chapter 6, Not Causing Harm. It's a transformative experience to simply pause instead of immediately filling up the space. By waiting, we begin to connect with fundamental restlessness as well as fundamental spaciousness. Learning not to cause harm to ourselves or others is a basic Buddhist teaching on the healing power of non-aggression. Not harming ourselves or others in the beginning, not harming ourselves or others in the middle, and not harming ourselves or others in the end is the basis of enlightened society. This is how there could be a sane world. It starts with sane citizens, and that is us. The most fundamental aggression to ourselves, the most fundamental harm we can do to ourselves is to remain ignorant by not having the courage and respect to look at ourselves honestly and gently. The ground of not causing harm is mindfulness, a sense of clear seeing with respect and compassion for what it is we see. This is what basic practice shows us. But mindfulness doesn't stop with formal meditation. It helps us relate with all details of our lives, and it helps us see, hear, and smell without closing our eyes or ears or noses. It's a lifetime journey to relate honestly to the immediacy of our experience and to respect ourselves enough not to judge it. As we become more wholehearted in this journey of gentle honesty, it comes as quite a shock to realize how much we blinded ourselves to some of the ways in which we cause harm. Our style is so ingrained that we can't hear when people try to tell us, either kindly or rudely, that maybe we're causing harm by the way that we are and the way that we are relating with others. We become so used to the way we do things that somehow we think that others are used to it too. It's painful to face how we harm others, and it takes a while. It's a journey that happens because of our commitment to gentleness and honesty, our commitment to staying awake and being mindful. Because of mindfulness, we see our desires and our aggression, our jealousy and our ignorance. We don't act on them, we just see them. Without mindfulness, we don't see them. So let's take this into a practice. I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable, or just find a place to have a nice soft gaze in the room. And begin to practice mindfulness by dropping into your senses. Without judgment, simply become aware of noticing what you notice. What do you hear? What do you taste? Are you aware of any smells? What do you physically feel? Perhaps noticing the texture of your clothing, wiggling your toes, and that sensation of your socks or shoes or the ground. Whether your eyes are open or closed, what do you see? Behind the dark eyelids, can you see the light dancing? And for a few moments, simply become mindful of the thoughts that arise without judgment. We begin to practice this gentle, honest self-awareness. Ask your higher self to reveal to you a way that perhaps you have been blinded to, that you may be unintentionally unaware, causing harm to yourself or others. Only if you feel ready, with gentleness and courage. As a thought or an image or a picture or a memory arises in your awareness, simply observe it without judgment. Just notice. And thank your higher self for revealing this to you. For the first step is simply to become aware. Now focus your energy on your heart center. And allow the healing vibration of the crystal bowl to align with the highest vibration of your heart. Knowing that love is the healer. Love is always the answer. We ask, what would love do now? Breath. And just notice if you find yourself trying to get an answer or trying to practice and release that attachment and just be here now. Knowing that whatever is revealed or not revealed, whatever experience you are having is perfect. Remember to breathe. Stay in this meditative space or open your eyes, whatever's more comfortable, as I move into the next reading. The next step is refraining. Mindfulness is the ground. Refraining is the path. Refraining is one of those uptight words that sounds repressive. Surely alive, juicy, interesting people wouldn't practice refraining. Maybe they would sometimes refrain, but not as a lifestyle. Well, in this context, however, refraining is very much the method of becoming a dharmic person. It's the quality of not grabbing for entertainment the minute we feel a slight edge of boredom coming on. It's the practice of not immediately filling up space just because there is a gap. Once I was giving an interesting meditation practice that combined mindfulness and refraining. We were told just to notice what our physical movements were when we felt uncomfortable. I began to notice that when I felt uncomfortable, I did things like pull my ear, scratch my nose or head, even if it didn't itch, straighten my collar. I made all sorts of little jumpy, jittery movements when I felt like I was losing ground. Our instruction was not to change anything, not to criticize ourselves for whatever we were doing, but just to notice what we did. Noticing how we try to avoid it is a way to get in touch with basic groundlessness. Refraining, not habitually acting out impulsively, has something to do with giving up entertainment mentality. Through refraining, we see that there's something between the arising of the craving or the aggression or the loneliness or whatever it may be, and whatever action we take as a result. There's nothing there in us that we don't want to experience, and we never do experience because we're so quick to act. Underneath our ordinary lives, underneath all the talking we do, all the moving we do, and all the thoughts in our mind, there's a fundamental groundlessness. There's a bubbling along all the time. We experience it as a restlessness or an edginess. We experience it as fear. It motivates passion, aggression, ignorance, jealousy, and pride. But we never get down to the essence of it. Until now. Refraining is the method for getting to know the nature of this restlessness and fear. Settling into our groundlessness. Instead of immediately entertaining ourselves by talking or acting or thinking, we begin to relax. We've always been speeding through life, and we'll always be stuck with what my grandfather called a good case of the jitters. Refraining is a way to make friends with ourselves at the most profound level, and we can begin to relate with what's underneath all the bubbles and burps, all the stuff that comes up and expresses itself as uptight, controlling, manipulative behavior, or whatever, or however it may show up. And underneath all that, there is something very soft, very tender that we experience as fear or edginess. So I invite us now again into this practice to simply notice. Notice the discomfort. Notice the ways that perhaps you avoid the intimacy of your own being. The jitters, the nervousness, the constant need for stimulation or entertainment. And let us now practice letting all of that go for a few minutes to simply be. Because of mindfulness, we see things when they arise. Because of our understanding, we don't buy into the chain reaction that makes things grow from minute to expansive. We leave things minute, and they stay tiny. And the result is that we cease to cause harm. We begin to know ourselves thoroughly and to respect ourselves. Anything can come up. Anything can walk into our house, and we can find anything sitting on our living room couch, and we don't freak out. We have been thoroughly processed by coming to know ourselves through thoroughly processed by this honest, gentle mindfulness. Not causing harm requires staying awake. Part of being awake is slowing down enough to notice what we say and do. The more we witness our emotional chain reactions and understand how they work, the easier it is to refrain, and it becomes a way of life to stay awake, slow down, and notice. Stay awake, slow down, and notice. Stay awake, slow down, notice. At the root of all harm is ignorance. Through meditation, we can begin to undo. Stay awake, slow down, and notice. Right here, right now, is that there is one life. This life is love, is peace, is wholeness. This one life is living and moving and having its being in, as, and through me, in, as, and through all. And I'm so grateful to recognize this truth. So grateful to know peace in this now moment. So grateful to claim courage and gentleness. To choose this day to remain awake and aware. To simply notice and be present. Allowing for the grace and space to refrain from harmful speech, words, actions, or deeds. To notice when emotions arise, to drop back into our heart, to surrender and let love lead the way. I'm so grateful to affirm that a healing is happening now. I am so grateful to know that I am love. And in each moment, I choose love, and peace is revealed. And I speak this word on behalf of all of humanity, knowing that as we each commit to knowing ourselves more fully, to doing no harm, that we will create a world that works for all. It is happening now in this very moment. The seeds have been planted, and the practice begins. I'm so grateful for the fulfillment of this word as I release it now into the action of the law that always says yes. Yes, my beloved, yes. It is done, and it is so. And so it is.